Good morning, Keller Williams, and welcome back to 66 Conversations with MAPS Coaches. I'm here today with Kimberly Guiry. Kimberly, thanks for being here today. So happy to have you. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll launch into your conversation next.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me this morning, Marty. I appreciate it. I'm Kimberly Guiry. I'm a MAPS performance coach. I coach to mindset, motivations, behaviors, any emotions. I coach to the whole person, as all performance coaches do. We look for what might be standing in the way between you and the client's greatness, and we help to remove those obstacles so you can focus on your one thing, which is having your life by design.
I love our performance coaches. You guys handle all of it, right? Not just the production, but everything behind and front, in between and around the production. Definitely some impactful coaches in our world, and I appreciate you being here. I know that you have coached some clients lately, so we're talking about listing objections or listing conversations today. The seller who feels like in today's market, a house in any condition will sell. What are you coaching your clients when a seller says, hey, do we really need to make that repair? Do we need to really make that cosmetic enhancement, whether it's to repaint or replace some flooring or whatever it may be? When they say, I don't want to do that, or do we need to do that? What's that conversation look like?
Yeah, I am hearing that quite a bit. If in anything, I'm actually living it in my own life right now. My daughter's in the process of buying a resale, and the seller did not make some of the repairs. And so now when we're writing that offer for her, we're putting in that concession of how much more can it be? And that seller, if that seller would have made that decision to make the repairs up front, as suggested by their listing agent, they might have more of negotiating power now at the back end, especially with this market shifting, with fewer buyers coming to the table. Now it's a different conversation than it was a few months ago. So one thing that I've been coaching clients around is, it's almost like the game of football. Are we on the offense or the defense?
Great point. Yeah.
Right. And so right now, when the seller is meeting with the listing agent and they're walking through the house and they're looking at all the repairs and all that can be done, the ball right now, that's in the seller's hands.
Yep.
It's up to them to call their play, to get the repairs done, to get that house in order, to make sure that that house is show ready to get the top dollar on the market. The minute they make that decision to pass that ball and move it over to the buyer, now it's the buyer's play. And it's up to the buyer to decide, how much do I want to invest out of my pocket towards this? How much do I want to spend towards this roof or getting this tile pulled or whatever it is that the repair that they're looking for? Now it's up to the buyer, because the buyer now has control. So the conversation to have with the listing agent is, how comfortable are you passing the ball and giving control to someone else to decide now what these repairs are worth, when you know that you have the control up front to choose who you want to work with, find the best value, right? Otherwise, it's up to someone else. And then it's their game.
Yeah. I can only imagine that your daughter probably wants top level, professional, first in class, best in class repairer and contractors to address any of those concerns. And that probably is not the, how do you say, the most value driven consumer person, right? Like when the seller makes the decision, the seller can decide how much to spend. I love that, right? Because they got the ball and they can say, okay, I've got 3 quotes. I don't necessarily want to lowball it, but I don't need to use the most expensive person because we just need to get this done. It doesn't have to be like, a work of art, if you will. Now, I imagine your daughter probably wants it to be a work of art because that's the house she's going to live in for the next 7 to 10 to 15 years. I love that analogy of football going from defense to offense. I think about some of the repair requests I've gotten as well, right? Like it might just be a leaky, toilet. That's always my favorite. Yes, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, you could have gone to Home Depot and gotten that toilet kit. That would have cost you $27 in a YouTube 5-minute video to repair that. However, now the buyer is asking you to have a professional plumber, licensed and contracted, to come out and provide receipts prior to close. And that's going to cost you about 10x the amount of money that you could have paid to just fix it, right? So I do agree. And Kimberly, the market is shifting, right? Yes. That's the reality. And I think we spent all of last week, right? We're filming this just after Mega Camp. We spent a lot of time talking about the differences that are coming down in the market. pricing wise, things are changing. And I think staging wise, we're even launching a new community around that. I'm
Yeah.
sure you saw some of that
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
Staging isn't always just making it beautiful. It's always addressing those concerns that a buyer like your daughter may see. And let me ask you this, when your daughter saw some of those concerns, did she stop there?
Absolutely. In fact, they've gone back 2 different times.
Yeah.
You know, with the microscope and the blue light, because now they're looking for everything. They
Yeah.
want to see what's happened in this house.
Yeah.
So there's no surprises on their end. And it's not to distract the buyers by doing the repairs up front.
Sure.
Yet if you're not looking for it, remember it's that bold law, what you focus on expands.
Oh yeah.
So if your buyers are looking for it, they will find everything possible. And all of that has a dollar sign attached to it, which then starts to change the offers that they're going to start seeing.
Is the buyer looking for things to fall in love with? Or is the buyer looking looking at things to fall in love without, right? Or to fall out of love with, if you will, depending which way you want to do that. Yeah, I love that analogy. And I hope that your daughter finds the right house and that this is the right house and all of the negotiations go through. And, you know, maybe that seller learns a little lesson, and maybe the listing agent realizes they maybe pushed a little, could have pushed a little harder, right? I guess we'll have to see. And that's a situation. But thank you for sharing your time and talent today. Definitely a conversation to be having. Guys, if your sellers say, hey, do we have to make the repairs? Use Kimberly's analogy. All right, you want to be on offense or you want to be on defense? Because we can play this one of 2 ways. But personally, I like to be on offense. So you make the decision, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, and then we'll take it from here. So Kimberly, any closing thoughts?
No, that's it. Just buckle up. Gary says we've got about 12, 13 more months. December 23 is his prediction for when this market's going to start to stabilize again. So just be prepared for anything.
Got to be prepared for anything, guys. Kimberly, thanks so much for your time. Come back tomorrow, guys. We'll have a brand new MAPS coach with a brand new conversation. Thanks for tuning in today. And as always, we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon.